Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Tender. It's Monday, December 8th, 2025. We're going to take a look from the top down. We're going to start off with the monthly, weekly, go down to the daily. We'll check out the VIX, IBIT, MJ, and then we'll finish off with the 65-minute and showing you exactly what I think is going to happen going into FOMC and what to do if you think it's going to go to protect the direction that you are going to go in. Okay, that you think that you're going to trade. Very good. So I didn't do a weekend video, so that's why I'm going to intricate all of this in here with the daily as well that we do each and every day. So make sure you hit the notification bell. I have some brand new trend lines here on the monthly. So again, stick around. We're doing this intraday about 3:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube member. And it's 99 cents a month that comes with the Discord. We'll talk about dark prints that comes with the in the Discord. We have this cheddar data options flow that comes through there with dark prints, and they are becoming very, very useful in trading, and I'm going to show you exactly the retracement on this confluence of resistance and a level that basically means all this week. Okay, and I'm going to share that with you in the lower time frame. So if you're limited on time, first of all, I always recommend playing these videos at 1.5 speed. It may sound like a mouse, but just go and get all the information. I know you want to watch more videos. I do. And also the if you want to scroll to the end, if you're limited on time, then just make sure you get that 65-minute data that we're going to give you at minimum. Okay. All right. So for the week here, we're back up in this range of 220% GDP to market value to GDP. So just know that this is not sustainable. Okay. Do we get this holiday rally? I'm not in that boat, but I'll show you in this case what it may look like if we do get that. All right, we have a couple setups here. We have the hangman candle that's on the monthly. We have the spinning top on the weekly, and then we have the gravestone. So let's see if we get follow through going with this. With this daily time frame, we did get a little bit of confirmation. Let's see where we close. Again, we have that cheddar flow. The only thing that matters this week is FOMC. So we're not going to look at 10-year rates today, but they are breaking out to the upside. So what is that going to mean if the 10-year treasury rates are flying to the upside? And we suspect that the Fed is going to cut rates. Well, I'm not so sure, but the market is going to force that. I did a whole video on that. The market's going to force to get its rates anyway. So if we don't get them, I suspect that we'll have a pretty nasty spill, especially if we don't cut this month here, which I do think we will, but we'll see how that tone goes. And then the options expected move for the week is 109 points to the upside or downside. I'm not sure if that's going to hold, but we'll see. I think we might get a little bit more movement, even if it's back and forth. I think we'll move more than 100 points. Okay. All right. Here's the monthly time frame. We have SPX. We just talked about briefly. First time we ever got QE, and we talked about it in the Discord. Somebody asked, isn't it QE when we get it bullish? Well, yeah, but it usually happens after a pretty devastating move. And for the first time, and I say usually, but it's really the first time we ever had QE was in November 25th. In 2008, and we had a capitulation move after the fact, and we had zero rates and QE and all that for the rest of the days. So that's your bull market. Okay, now just going in here, we have that hangman candle. I do suspect we get inside month or follow through to go lower, and these trend lines. Where are these coming from? All right, well, we talked about historic trend lines over and over and over, and it crossed above here with the 2007, and we're slightly over it now. But if we line up, and this isn't mine, it's who was I looking at? Ron walker. Lined up these two bottoms here, and then I lined it up with the top, and lo and behold, let me move that back here. Lo and behold, we're right at that channel top there. Then I drew another channel that was supporting the possible 1 and 2 Elliott waves, and just brought them across, and we're right there as well. So, and that brought us the April low for that tariff tantrum, and then the 2022 low. You know, we had the this Corona crash that went through it, and that's really the only outside outlier there. And then we had a good low there as well. So and it kind of lines up with that 50 moving average on the monthly. All right, and quickly, we're looking at finally the crossover here on the slow stochastic. Negative divergence here, negative divergence into the top of the column here on the MACD. So, you know, this is looking good for our setup for a recession type move. DMARC, don't look at it often, but we don't need to on the monthly time frame. No setup here yet. We're at 11 count, 11.7, so no real setup. And then we'll go to the weekly. Now on the weekly, I left the charts the same. So, you know, these are the historic trend lines right here. And we actually held on to one of them. Why is that? Because the moving averages are super important. 20 simple moving average. We came down and touched that. And that's where we got that nice big rally that we caught most of that rally, except this this extra little doji spinning top week here. Just basically it was theta decay, but we had a nice rally up here that we caught for Thanksgiving, and now we're clearly back short, but we are at resistance. Now the 8 EMA, yes, I'm fighting the trend. We are at resistance. I have something to put my back against. We have the 8 EMA. The momentum is up 20. The trend is up on the weekly time frame. I think that's going to change. So at the indicators, we had the slow stochastic moving back up. We had negative divergence here, so we're going to keep an eye on this one. All right, we're already up to the overbought territory, but we'll see where we end up and see where this week closes to see if we start maybe getting a crossover here. Okay. And then we're still bearish and bearish conditions. We crossed over already. We have red histograms here on the MACD with negative divergence. So this one's a little bit more sensitive. So I think this one's going to roll over faster. But do we have another week that we turn green? Still possible. But our indicators are telling us that this move is almost over. Okay, so here's the daily. And on the daily, we're just going to look at the summation real quick. And here's the summation. We're still negative. We're into that neutral zone for this bounce. A huge bounce gave us just a little move here, and we're not getting any stronger. We're still weak. We're in a downtrend for this this move here. We don't have negative divergence, but you see we have this nice trend here, just like this one had the downtrend, and we're looking for that same thing. Now, if we start to cross above the bull bear pivot and start to strengthen, then we have something else going on. Okay, and here, here's this channel. It's possible that we have a bull flag going. I still think we're going to test the lows, but somebody in our Discord pointed out a nice channel before price even got there. And that came from the potential head and shoulder neckline. So I'm still looking at this as a left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and maybe this is a double head here, and you still get a bounce. So that's still a possibility where you still have the right shoulder over here. Just looking at a traditional sense, we had this nice big move here, but if even in the scenario where this is either an A, B, C, or a 1, 2, and we're going into wave 3, well, the wave 3 still could have another 1, 2 on a lesser degree. So that might cause a bounce to get bullish back in. Everybody thinks we're going to go up, but it gives us kind of a right shoulder again at the top of this range. So let's see what happens. We don't know that. I'm just giving examples, a kind of a roadmap, just in case price does this, then we do that. All right, so we had our reversal candle here on the daily time frame. We get confirmation from that. Now let's go over to our regular, I'm going to pause it for a second, go to our regular review. Okay, so here's where we left off, and we're drawing here on SPX. You have this little incremental high here. I think that's still a possibility. So if you look at the moving averages, you kind of had this correction. Maybe this was the correction. You had this correction here, and then you had that nice big move. All right, and that was during the holidays as well. What a coincidence. If you look at it, it looks exactly the same. All these green candles, and then you had a correction, but the moving averages held on. You barely held on, but couldn't break out. Do we do that again? That's still a possibility. What we're going to do is we're going to see where price is going into Wednesday, because Wednesday could give you a false move anyway, but we're in our put positions. We are short, most of us in the Discord, not everybody. But if we get a dive going into FOMC, then we're gonna use our options expected move to give us a some hedges, give us a price action for hedges. So I'm going to show you that in the 65. But here's just a look from this possible low right here, and we're rejecting off of that trend line, and so I want to leave that up there. We just drew that out, and it's working out well so far, and it's the same thing with NDX as well. Just take a peek at it. There's your channel, and rejecting off of the channel, same thing. All right, so we looked at that indicator. We see that the trend, we're kind of, the trend is still up. We're not fighting with it yet. Moving averages, so that's where we're getting a reaction today. We have the 8 EMA. We went and tagged it, and then we have the 20 and the 50 a little bit lower underneath us. So we want to, if you want to see that price action hold here, if you're bullish. And if the price gets back under it and tests the lows, that doesn't matter if price gets back above it and holds on to it. So if you have some V-shaped recovery or something like that. So, these are just observations of what we're going to have to do to pay attention to. All right, here's what we'll call an oscillator. And again, this is, that negative divergence going into this move here. So that was a good setup for us. We closed the gap, so we don't need that anymore. And now it's starting to get weaker here. The breadth of the market's getting weaker, and we could see that. And a lot of the names are, a lot of the indices are weak, and the only thing that's really holding things up are the semiconductors and Microsoft here. Okay, so that's how we interpret that. And then we have our MACD. We have the divergence here, and we're getting the sell signal today on the slow stochastic, which is looking really good for our theme. We are still positive just above the zero line, the MACD, and I think that will roll over as well and continue this downtrend all the way down and cycle lower. Now, if you're bullish, you can interpret that we have the crossover here, but you have the headwind right now. So price might go down a little bit further. Again, if you break down from those moving averages and maybe the slow stochastic starts going back up and we still have a bullish cross, then you might have that possibility of going higher. So that's how you'd interpret that if you're bullish. All right, your DMARC, you had that 9 count, sell signal, and it worked out really, really well. You have the 13.9. And let's go to SPY for the money flow. All right, with your money flow index, we had that negative divergence. Things start to cycle through. We're getting a little bit of accumulation with the volume here, and then kind of a downtrend. So I do suspect this will continue to go lower, but if you're bullish, obviously you want to see this rising with volume here. This is basically the RSI with volume. All right, your Bollinger Band, no setup yet. We didn't quite make it to the band. The bands are sideways. I do think those are going to expand soon here. Elliott oscillator back in the positive area. If we do get a new high, then that's going to be a divergence to the downside. All right, and let's go to VIX. So here's your VIX. We did make it down to that trend line, that massive trend line that we've been looking at for a long time. I wasn't sure if we're going to make it down there, and it surely did. Okay, so we hit it one more time, and I took out that go cycle because we're working on this cycle still really well. We have the minor cycle, which the ideal low is tomorrow, but that's the 3-day window that Friday we came into. So we're now in the minor up phase here, and we'll see what kind of action we get here. I don't know if we'll, gap down and then into Wednesday start moving up higher. So I do think we're going to get a bounce really soon here, but looking good with the cycles so far. Let's go to IBIT. See how Bitcoin's doing. And we're in the same scenario. It's kind of chopping back and forth, but I still think we're in this bear flag. And then we drop from there. So nothing to really grasp onto yet. We had this bullish crossover. So if we do make a new low, that should be a divergent low. And we should see a nice bounce from there. Don't put too much weight into this channel. All right, that's a possibility. So I left that channel there. Maybe we hold on to it and we go for a higher bounce. But now we're starting to get the sell on the slow stochastic as well. All right, and we bounced out of oversold conditions. And so let's see if we can get some positive divergence going in here. We had the low. Now let's see if we can make a new low, but make a higher low in the MACD. Let's go to MJ. So here's MJ. We're going to be watching this carefully. And we had this consolidation area, and it looks like it's kind of an expanding move. But watch this trend line. We're getting back to it. If this holds, I think we will start a nice big move, a nice trip to the upside. If this breaks down, then we have something else going on. I do think this is going to form some sort of equilibrium and or a inverse head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So this has got to hold on though. We have that nice support area around 2450, which is where the old gap was. So that clearly made that area important. Here's where you had support. And then we had support here, and we have this possible trend line coming up. Okay, so let's go to SPY and really dig out what's happening really soon here. Okay, we're going to 65-minute. And we're looking at a reversal off of this 887 Fibonacci retracement, and that's for this entire move. Okay, we got past that 786, used it as support, and now I do suspect that this move, this really small move here, going in Tuesday, I think we'll go up to probably test, guess what? 685, 685.30 in this case. That's an important number, 685-ish, okay? So I do suspect we'll have a retracement going into Wednesday. And what would that look like? Lo and behold, it's right in this zone of 685 where you have this golden pocket. All right, I do think we'll reverse off of there, but you have FOMC. You can get a nice spike through there as well. But yeah, so that's your bearish scenario. We had our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave leading diagonal. Now we have an A, B, C wave move to end wave 2. And I think we're going lower to wave 3. All right, there is two other scenarios that I'm sharing with the members on a higher time frame. I can show you that, but on this time frame, again, now here's your bearish rising wedge. You had the wedge that we broke out of. Fake break, but we still use that for the breakout going into Thanksgiving, and we broke down from it. Technical damage, sell signal. I have a nice reversal candle right here, so I think that will reverse into Tuesday. But guess what's right up here? Huge, massive dark pool print. Those were printing out after the close on Friday. and about $6-7 billion worth. They're just big buys, almost $1 billion a piece. Those buys are something like $900 million each print. So massive. And that just happens to be the back test of the wedge. And that happens to be the retracement for the golden pocket. Okay. And that gives us enough time to waste going into FOMC. So I think we have a 1-2 setup that we're getting into. Not only a larger degree 1-2 setup. And this, like I said, this is can be considered an A, a B, and we go down to that C. That brings us down to this possible head and shoulder. Let's say we hold that, or that flag pattern that we looked at on the daily. So let's say we go test the lows and we hold that and we go for that bounce. Well, as a bull, you're going to want to see a little bit of market structure to the upside, a higher low, and then higher. Okay? And then the bears, you go down here, you get your nice bounce, and that's a 1-2 setup in itself. And you want to see a 1-2. I know this is a micro degree 1-2, but then this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move down. And then you get a bounce, and you go for wave 3. And that should bring us down into these target areas much lower. All right, and 4 and 5. That's how I'm looking at it. But again, there'll be some wonderful opportunities to hedge. I think this will be a great spot. Take profit, hedge. Now, that's assuming that we do get that impulse wave down here. And that is the same thing that the bears and the bulls should be looking for. So the bulls, even though if we do get to make a slight new low here, you're looking to be a bull and make new highs and hit those 700 area. Bears are looking for this bounce to fail and continue lower. All right. And so we'll do this each and every day so we can. And by the way, I have another membership. It's $5 a month. And you know, no matter what, my priority is there. I gave game plans during the weekend, even though I was super busy with things. I'm busy doing something today, but I want to get this video out for the public. But we made sure each day that we made a members video. We did the options expected moves earlier today too. Okay, and so looking at your moving averages, we're fighting with the 58. We're probably going to get the little bounce there. Here's your MACD setup, RSI. So we're getting a little oversold, right? And so that I suspect oversold into the 50. We should get that bounce, and that bounce should rise quickly. We're also slow Stokes curling up. Okay, so we're starting to get the headwind against the MACD. MACD is still heading down, but we're at that zero line. So again, that's a good bounce area. I think we'll just test that and possibly maybe whipsaw a little bit through the yellow line, the blue and the yellow, right? And this should cycle up quickly, and then we'll be looking for a pathway back lower. DMARC. No setup there yet. We have a 6 count. Money flow. Money's still flowing out. It's all distribution. We had that negative divergence, and that's just distribution there. So we had that setup here. Look at that. The Bollinger Band. We got up past the Bollinger Band. Had a sell signal with overbought, with negative divergence. Got our sell. Now we're in the back. Now we're at the bottom of the Bollinger Bands with oversold conditions. That's a buy signal, you guys. So if you're a super short-term trader, you have a nice scalp here. Okay, and Elliott oscillator, negative divergence. We're back at that zero line so far. Might even get a couple green bars, and then we should head lower after that. All right, my friends, we'll end off with the VIX here. I hope that 685 area, super important. I can't stress that enough. So now we had this channel, and then the ending diagonal here, close the gap right into that major trend line. Now we're gapping up. Now let's look for the back test of this breakout. All right, let's back test here going tomorrow into Wednesday, and then we should see continuation to the upside. That's how I'm looking at the market, guys. I hope all this helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the Discord. Come join us, you guys.